What up, y'all? It's your boy Origin back again. This time, my first individual video. And today's topic is, are men complicated? And the answer is, yes, we are complicated. But look, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to drop some knowledge on you. See, we know women are complicated, but why are men complicated? Because most of the time, men aren't complicated. Men are complicated when feelings get involved, or when too much thought at all gets involved, really. So on the day-to-day, we're real chill, we're real laid back. Like, want a sandwich? Sure. Or do you want some hot dogs? White pick, right? We're real simple, like we're just chilling, laid back. But when you start adding feelings into it, it's like that taps into something else that we don't normally use. This is something different, a whole nother gear, because then feelings get hurt, feelings get caught, then feelings get hurt, and then it can just go anywhere. It's just like, when I met you, you were so chill, and then once they caught feelings, it just turned from sure, whatever, to look, I think we need to talk. Like, how do you feel about this? Yo, they start running stuff past you, and then everything gets more complicated. Nothing stays as simple as it is in the beginning, because feelings complicate things. Look, if you start to really like somebody and care for them, which you may not have been doing at first, with the person made of like that you didn't, seem clingy or all on them at first. By the time that is to a point where you like them, and now you're starting like that good morning text, that good night text, what you doing like throughout the day, just randomly texting them. Maybe they thought it was cool that you didn't do that at first. Now that they do it, and they feel like that's how they show affection, because that's how people always taught them to show affection. Like, you show affection, you show that you're there, you show this way, that way, whatever. But now it's just like, you meet this one girl and she's just like, yeah, I don't like that you did that. Like, I don't want to add a title to something. It's just more complicated. And it's like, of course, when you catch feelings, things get complicated, and that's just the simple truth behind it, really. Like, and then when you think too much, and I do this a lot, things get complicated. Because it can be something simple as, what's your favorite food? And you can go between, well, it's either like spaghetti or ribs. And then you think about it, and you're like, well, I don't know. Ribs is more of a special occasion food. Like, it has to be a holiday, and we have to get the family together. And I really think that's why it's so good, because you got the family and you're just happy when you're eating it. But then you're like, but if it's like a boring day and I come on with some spaghetti, I'm happy as heck. Like, oh, and you gotta like, wait, bacon, but you could have just said, sure, I don't know, spaghetti, and it would have been way more simple. Once you started thinking about it, it got much more complicated. And usually, that's where we leave things simple. It comes to us, we'll say it. If we think about it some more, and not a lot, we'll just correct ourselves, and it don't go past that. But once you start to think too much, and you start putting too much effort and energy behind something, it gets trickier, it gets harder to get out of, it gets more twisted, and that's all the people in there. If they're not looking for something complicated, then they get into a situation that they weren't ready for, they weren't looking for, and they may not even be able to handle. So, I mean, yes, guys are complicated, but I mean, ladies, you gotta stick it out with us. Like, y'all are complicated too, and even when it comes down to it, y'all are still more complicated. We just have our moments, but you gotta think, like, people are complex in the first place, So, I mean, if you got a problem, I sit there and help you through it. If I got a problem, I expect the same thing. Like, I mean, we're supposed to be here to help each other. This is supposed to be a group activity. It's supposed to be communal. Like, if you're dating somebody, you're supposed to be dating them because you can see like a future with them. You don't date people that you can't see a future with, because it's just a waste of time. So if you're dating somebody and you don't even plan like to add a title to it, and you're just like, oh, I'm dating but I can see other people, that's not cool. It's like, you pick somebody, it's monogamy. You gotta pick one, and then if that's not the right person for you, then you move on. Sure, you might miss an opportunity, but at least you know that one person isn't right for you, and you didn't ruin it because you went to somebody else for somebody else. You gotta just keep things simple, really. Like, if that's the way it is, you don't want to add no titles. If you're gonna go into it, just tell them up front. Be like, look, this is what it is. It's not gonna be no more. It's not gonna be no less. It's just like, if you're gonna friend zone somebody, you gotta do it hard. You spare their feelings, leave them with hope. They'll keep coming. They'll keep figuring like, I can get out. But you gotta end it. You gotta shut them down. Now I'll do another video on that if we didn't already do one. Just how to friend zone. Just end it. Just stop it. Cut it off. Like, look, tell them if you can't just be friends, we can't talk at all. It's simple. But look, everybody's complicated. Everybody, even the simplest person, can be the deepest people sometimes. Like, you have to really think about, just because somebody comes off one way, they can change. They can be a totally different person. Like, what you see could just be a shell. It could be to stop people from getting in. It could be from hiding whatever it is about them that they don't want you to see. And then by the time you come around and you get to know them, you break through that shell, they can be totally different. That's why you have to take time to get to know people before you enter into anything serious. Because once it gets serious, things can get delirious, man. Don't mess yourself up just assuming off like that first impression. I know first impression is important, but people can redeem themselves and people can show themselves to be terrible people. You have to actually get to know somebody. That's why I say first impressions don't always mean everything. Peace.